You're sitting down right now, maybe on a couch, maybe in a chair, maybe you just got home and you finally have nowhere to be and nothing that has to happen in the next hour. And there it is, that feeling. It isn't a loud feeling, just a hum, a low, quiet voice somewhere in the back of your head, asking the same question it always asks the second you stop moving. Should I be doing something? You've probably tried to ignore it, and you've probably told yourself you earned the rest, and the voice went quiet for about 4 minutes, and then it came back. Here's what nobody told you about that voice. It isn't yours. It was installed, and we can name almost the exact moment it happened, because it left a paper trail. For 300,000 years before that, your ancestors rested without asking anyone's permission, with no timer and no earning it first. They finished what needed doing, and they stopped. The way you stop breathing out and just breathe in. That ability is mostly gone now, and the story of how we lost it has a date on it. But before that, one thing. The last time you actually sat down with nothing you had to do, how long was it before something moved to fill the space? A phone? A task you remembered? Be honest with yourself. 5 minutes? 2? 30 seconds? Put a number on it and hold it in your head, because we're coming back to it. Let's start with the thing everyone believes. You work and then you rest. Work is the real thing, and rest is the reward you collect at the end of it. You earn rest. You clock out and get it, and you retire, and finally, after 40 years, you get all of it at once. That whole idea is about 200 years old, and this is documented history, not theory. A historian named E.P. Thompson tracked it down in detail. Before the factory, most people farmed or made things by hand, and their work was shaped by the task, not the clock. You worked until the field was sown or the net was mended, and then you stopped. There was no clean line between working and living, because the two were braided together all day long. You'd work, talk to someone, sit a while, and work again. The guilt didn't exist, not because those people were lazy, because they worked brutally hard. The guilt didn't exist because the machine that produces the guilt hadn't been built yet, and then it got built, on purpose, with a date. In the early factories of 18th century Britain, the owners hit a problem. Their workers kept doing the natural human thing, which was to work a while and then stop, to sit, to talk to the person at the next bench, and then work again. Burst, rest, burst, rest. That rhythm is how human effort has always worked, but it's unpredictable, and you cannot run it next to a machine that turns at the same speed all day. So they replaced the task with the clock. Thompson put it in one line that has stuck for 60 years. Time stopped being something you passed, and it became something you spent. A worker was no longer paid for what they made. They were paid for the hours they were on the floor, and the second time became money. Every minute you weren't working was money leaking out of someone's pocket. Some of the early factory masters were so serious about this that the only clock in the building belonged to them. There's a record of one worker saying the only timepiece was the master's, and when another man got hold of a watch and started telling the others the real hour, the watch was taken off him and locked in the master's office. That's the moment, not a metaphor. A man losing his watch so he couldn't tell his coworkers what time it actually was. They didn't just change the hours, they changed what stopping meant. Stopping became a cost, and then it became a sin, and idleness got a moral weight bolted onto it that it had never carried before. And the entire idea you are still running tonight, that you have to deserve the right to sit down, was manufactured right there to solve a scheduling problem. Now here's what everyone gets wrong about the modern version. You probably think the problem is hours. Work fewer hours, rest more. Simple. It isn't that simple, and the proof is everywhere. People cut their hours and still can't rest. They sit down and reach for the phone in 4 seconds. They take a week off and spend 3 days of it anxious about the inbox waiting at the end. They retire, finally, and find themselves more restless at 65 than they were at 40. Hours are not the thing. The thing is what we put in rest's place. Scrolling your phone after dinner is not rest because your brain is processing a fire hose of information the entire time. Watching something to decompress is not rest, it's redirection. And spending Sunday on errands and admin and planning the week is not rest, it's task switching wearing a day-off costume. Real rest is stranger than that. It's unfocused, and it produces nothing. And by every metric this culture runs on, It looks exactly like wasting time. It's the kind of empty where your mind goes loose, the way your hand goes loose when you've been gripping something too hard for too long and you finally just open it. And because we've been taught that empty time is wasted time, we won't let ourselves have it, so we fill it every time. There's a country that watched where this ends and had to invent a word for it. In 1969, a 29-year-old man collapsed at work in the shipping department of Japan's largest newspaper, a stroke. He'd been logging punishing hours for a long time. At first, they called it occupational sudden death, and it took his family 5 years to get it recognized as caused by the work. And it kept happening. More workers, the same pattern, dropping at their desks. It happened so many times that in 1982, a group of physicians published a book putting a name to it, Karoshi, Death from Overwork. Notice who named it, not the government, doctors, 3 of them, documenting body after body, trying to prove the work itself was the cause. And before this sounds like a story about one country far away, the biology in it is not Japanese. A body held in the on position for years, never completing its recovery cycle, is a body under measurable strain. There's a long-running study out of Britain that followed thousands of civil servants for years, and the people whose stress hormone rhythm had gone flat, whose bodies never properly powered down across the day, died at higher rates, mostly from their hearts. It doesn't arrive with a warning. It settles in slowly and becomes the texture of your life. You stop remembering what it felt like to wake up with energy, and you stop expecting to, and you decide, this is just what being an adult feels like. It isn't. It's what a body feels like when it has been running without recovery for so long that recovery itself starts to feel foreign, like a thing other people have, like a thing you used to have before everything got so full. So tonight, at some point, there will be a gap, a few minutes where nothing is immediately required, where the obligations go quiet and the space opens up and it's just you sitting in it. And something will move to fill that space, fast, a screen, a task you suddenly remember, something useful you could knock out while you have the time, something, anything, so you don't have to sit in the quiet with a body that's forgotten how to stop. Your ancestors sat in that quiet for hours, around fires that had no purpose except to hold the dark back. They talked about nothing, and they watched the flames, and they let their minds go completely loose, the way the sky goes loose right after sunset, when it's not day and not night, and everything is just soft and still and in between. They weren't wasting time. They were finishing the day, letting the body complete the thing the body has to complete before real rest is even possible. And when they lay down, they slept. Not because they'd earned it, but because the day was actually over. The retirement your ancestors had wasn't waiting at the end of their lives. It was folded into every single day of them. And that number you put in your head at the start, the seconds before something rushed in to fill your quiet, that number isn't a flaw in you. It isn't weak discipline or a short attention span. It's a 200-year-old factory rule, still running in your nervous system long after the factory it was built for shut its doors. You're not going to fix this with a productivity app. You're not going to find it in a 4-day week. You will never work hard enough or long enough or efficiently enough to finally earn the rest your body has been asking for the whole time. The only way back is the way they lived it. Stop. Not when everything's done. Not when you've earned it. Not when you deserve it. Just stop. Because you're alive. Because your body is asking. Because for 300,000 years, that was reason enough. And underneath everything they built on top of you, it still is. So here's the real question, and I want you to actually answer it, not just hear it. When was the last time you did nothing and didn't feel guilty about it? Not relaxed with a screen. Not earned it after a hard week. Actually, nothing. If you can't remember, that's not your failing. That's the receipt.